for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the spot!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Bittt. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Thursday, October 22nd. The Montreal Canadiens play host to the New York Rangers after the Canadiens have lost 3 games in a row. And what happens? They got absolutely destroyed. They got obliterated. The Rangers put on a hockey clinic and scored 7, count them, 7 on the Montreal Canadiens. And guess what? That's the good news. That and Nick Suzuki woke up. He scored a couple of goals. But that's the good news because the 7 could have been 10. What a disaster versus the organization that Jeff Gordon used to belong to when he was their GM and he was responsible for their rebuild. Well, several years later, the New York Rangers are looking pretty good. Thank you very much. The Montreal Canadiens in year 3 of their rebuild, whose goal was to be in the mix. The mix of what? The mix of the bottom 5 of the National Hockey League. The mix of teams to play the worst defensive hockey in the history of the National Hockey League. The mix of teams not to be ready to start a hockey game. There's only so many times you can bring out the legends of the 70s. Well, I'll bring out a legend on the Sick Podcast. He's former Hab from La Poche Bleue, Maxim Lapierre. Hello, Max.
Everything but a legend, but hello, Tony.
I can't say this on radio, but I can say it on the podcast. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What a fucking disaster. That's the first time I used the F word on the Sick Podcast, and I've been doing this for almost 5 years. Hold on a second. It was so bad that you're ready for this?
Yep.
What a fucking disaster. I just said it a second time. If you want to say it, by the way, go right ahead. No one's going to fire you because you work for yourself.
Well, where to start that, Tony? I was thinking the whole third period about what am I going to say on the show tonight. I'm not going to go 2 weeks in a row being so negative and destroy the whole thing because then it's just going to become a routine, right?
No, Max. I'm not going to tell you what to say, but say the truth. I mean, don't hold back because...
I'm obviously, you know me, I'll say the truth, but I think we need to analyze the whole situation step by step, line by line. Disaster tonight. It's the a little bit the same thing that what we've seen the last 4 games. I've seen a little more effort today at some points in the game. Like I like the reaction from Madison. I've seen some places during the game they looked like a team, but man, what is the same thing that we were talking last year with the power play? What do we have? I think it's time for a change. It's time for a trade. Like it doesn't matter. Like I feel like we're stuck into it's a rebuild. Rebuild doesn't mean wait. Like you're waiting for the bus, and in 2 years the bus is going to show up. Like we need to act a little bit. We need to go and try something. Steer the pot a little bit because that's not enough for me. What I'm seeing tonight, and this is what came to my attention. Okay, Tony, I was thinking the whole game, and it's easy to say they're bad. They don't work hard. They don't have coaching. Their power play doesn't work. The PK doesn't work, or it's easy to point finger. But I think the reality for me, major lack of speed. And we've seen it tonight. You can point at anything right now. They're young, they're old, major lack of speed. And if you go line by line, Suzuki, not a speedster. Dach, not a speedster. Armia, not a speedster. Gallagher, not a speedster. Anderson, speed, but goes everywhere except where he's supposed to be. Dvorak, not a speedster. Savard, no speed. Tonight we got destroyed because the Rangers were skating by us like we're an AHL team. This is the issue right now, and this needs to be addressed because it's not going to change because the main personnel that's going to stay here when we're supposed to win, they're not speedster. And don't get me wrong here.
Yeah.
Caulfield and Hudson are agile. They're not speedsters.
No, they're not. My take, Max, is going to be brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Like, I want you to think about this very carefully, okay? I want you to think about the first goal, 54 seconds into the hockey game, all right? Evans with a cross-ice pass to Hudson, and his shot gets blocked by Jacob Trouba, okay? The puck goes down the ice. The Canadiens are not outmanned, all right? But Panarin finds Fox. Anderson's late to getting to him. Like Josh Anderson is like, where do I go? Who do I cover? He's stuck in no man's land, okay? So he's late to Fox, who passes it to Zibanejad. Dach is late to get to him. He's not on him. Shot top corner, 1-0 Rangers, 54 seconds in, okay?
Yeah.
Pezzetta loses a draw, okay?
Yeah.
In the offensive zone. Schneider takes it. He dumps it down the ice. Struble and Mailloux are the two defensemen. Struble looks over to Mailloux and he says, okay, I'm going to try and interfere with this guy a little bit. You speed up, touch the puck. It's probably going to be icing. Mailloux looks at him and says, I thought you were going to take him. No, they both stop skating and the puck goes behind the net. Edstrom digs it up, boom, puts it in front, and Brodzinski scores 2-0 for the Rangers. You're going to understand why I'm doing this in a second, okay?
Yeah.
Doing this? Okay.
Take your time.
Lane Hudson, we know the 3-0 goal. He obviously makes a mistake. He's in between his blue line and the red line, and he tries to skate past Riley Smith, who strips him. Everyone will say, Lane, he's going to win some, he's going to lose some. And some will say he should continue doing that. I say he's got to pick his spots better. That's not the right play at that time. I think when you're trying to beat a guy like that, when you're the last man back, and I think you're playing more for yourself than you are for the team. Now, I don't think he did that intentionally. I think it's a lack of experience, and I think he's going to learn. Okay? We got 3 goals out of the way. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The fourth goal, Evans gets stripped by Hiddle, who finds Kako. Strubel's a little bit late to him. It goes back to Hiddle, and Barron's a little bit late to him. And boom, it's 4-0 for the Rangers. Like, okay, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go through all these. But what you said is, okay, they're slow. And you named a slow player or 2 slow players per line.
Yeah.
Max, I'm going to tell you, their defensive zone coverage, it sucks. When Marty St. Louis said this morning that he doesn't have to look at the data, the sample size is small, and that, he's seeing an improvement with the defensive zone coverage. I'm sorry, I never coached a game in my life. I don't see it. They're the worst defending team that I've seen in a long, long time. They don't have a defensive tactician on this staff. It's starting to stick out like a sore thumb. And Max, they gave up 7 goals tonight. They could have easily given up 11. So you say there's a lack of speed. I say the defensive zone coverage sucks.
Yeah, well, I'll stop.
Serious need of a defensive tactician.
Okay, I'll stop you right there.
Go.
What's the most important tool to be able to cover a guy in your zone?
The most important tool to be able to cover a guy in your zone? You mean to be able to get there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously the foot speed to be able to get there, or the hockey sense and or sense of anticipation to be able to know where it's going to go.
As soon as you're a little slower than the other guy, he starts with an advantage. It's easier for him to get a distance and create movement in the offensive zone. So that's the first step. Second step, I agree with you. We need to adjust the structure within the zone because there's, playing defensively the right way, is easy. It's sacrifice, it's structure, respecting the game plan, and just knowing your role. Like, it's easy to play well defensively. I think they need to address that right away. I agree 100% with you, but everywhere you look around the ice, Tony, whatever it's power play, PK, forecheck, back check, defensive zone, if you don't have the ability to be fast on the play, and fast doesn't mean just with your feet, it's with your head. The Tampa Bay Lightning built a championship team with speed and decision, and speed with your feet. We don't have that. So yes, it's okay to talk about rebuild all the time, but at one point you need to change something to bring, because we're year 3 now, so you need to bring an identity to the team. So we talked about it last week. You don't want to stay and be like the Ottawa Senators and the Buffalo Sabres. They have a bunch of good young guys, but who are they really? Like, what are they physical? Are they fast? What? I'll ask you this question,
Max,
right
the
now.
best teams, they'll be able to play you anyway. We've heard that before, and we've seen it in the playoffs. You name any team that won the Stanley Cup, whether it's the Vegas Golden Knights or the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Boston Bruins or you name it, Chicago Blackhawks, all those teams were able to play any style you wanted.
100%.
But besides, like you talked about, this team is soft, man.
Yeah, 100%.
This team is soft. I mean, how many players are going to get concussed on this team? Barron wasn't protecting himself, obviously. Very naive in keeping his head down and a lack of experience. Jacob Trouba sent them right through basically a wall. Boom! Mike Matheson came to Barron's defense and dropped the gloves for his teammate. Thank God. I mean, imagine that even that wouldn't have happened. But and by the way, I don't want to hear that Trouba hit Barron because Jacky was not in the lineup. Okay, because Pare hit Liney when Jacky was in the lineup. Domi cross-checked Hudson in the face when Jacky was in the lineup. Domi puts Trouba's face into the ice when Jacky was in the lineup. And lastly, Ridley Gregg blindsided Kirby Dach when Jacky was in the lineup. So if you're going to say that, you're delusional, okay?
Yeah, you're 100% right. Can I answer a question from the chat? Because I always read the chat, and I think it's good for discussion, okay?
Good, please.
There's Ryan saying, does no one know what a rebuild means, okay? I 100% agree with that comment, but the reality is a rebuild, you have a destination in your head, right? And you still need to take the right road to get there. You're still far away from there, but you need to take the right road at the beginning to get there at one point. And right now, I think we're off track a little bit. We're not heading the right direction. It doesn't matter if the plan is to be good in 5, 8, 20 years. The starting point, I think we're kind of losing track a little bit of where we want to go. That's the point. Obviously, we're all patient. We all know what's going on, but there's been a time in year 1 and 2 that it was all about we got great defensemen coming, and we got Suzuki and Caulfield and Slafkovsky. But every year you're supposed to get better at something, and this year I think we got worse. And
there's also something else. This team is not good enough to be without 2 top 6 players, Liney and Slafkovsky. Another one in Dach who's looking for his game. By the way, I thought tonight was one of his. I thought it was more encouraging than what I saw at center.
Better.
I liked Dach on the wing more than I liked him at center all season tonight. Okay.
Yep. Is that a big winger?
I think so. I'm not sold on him on center. I've said that before, and I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I think they're starting to think I'm right. They're not deep enough to be without Caden Gooley, Slafkovsky, and Liney. You're taking a top 2 out of their lineup on defense and 2 top 6 players. They're not deep enough. And so, look, to their defense, there's 3 players that are missing in the lineup. I get it, but they look like they don't know how to play hockey.
At one point, Tony, for me, it's you got to get rid of players. Like, I don't care if it's for 8th-round pick. Like, right now, I'd rather see some kids that are working hard from the minors than seeing Dvorak, Anderson.
But Max, I know what you're thinking, but who's going to take Josh Anderson?
Send them to Laval. I don't care.
Well, that's going to be a great example for the kids in Laval. Ça va bien?
Okay, I don't think he's a bad guy or a bad example to me.
Well,
I just think his game doesn't bring anything. Put him in the stands. I don't care. Why can Petzetta sit in the stands? I don't care. It's not the same skill level, but like at one point, it's the NHL. It's a league of results. Doesn't mean winning championship. It means a result could be improving. We're stuck in that bubble now that it's Montreal. We can do that.
I'm going to give you the answer that everyone knows. No, I'm going to give you the answer that everyone knows, but very few people want to say. And my answer is going to be brought to you by Bittt Tibi, who launched their new Ultra Lager, a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer. Perfect for cool fall days. Only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. Max, you know as well as I do that not all coaches will take a veteran player out of the lineup because they fear that that player has an ally or 2 or 3 in that locker room. And if he takes that player out of the lineup, even though that player is deserving to be taken out of the lineup, that, you know what, he might have 1 or 2 players on that team that are going to say, heck with the goal. Now, I don't think Josh Anderson is the most popular player in the locker room. I don't think he's got that much pull. But this is what it looks like from the outside for me. I'm going to say it. I don't think Marty right now has the courage to take a Josh Anderson out of the lineup. And you know what? He should. Because Marty's not going to go anywhere. Just because he's not going to get fired. They're not going to fire Marty St. Louis. When he wants to, when they're thinking of firing him, when it's going to happen one day, because we're not eternal. They're going to say, okay, Marty, you know what? Your time is up in Montreal. You had a shelf life and you did it. And they're going to say, but, we love you and we respect you. So we're going to give you the ability to walk away. And Marty is going to walk away. Probably. I don't know what's going to happen. But right now, if I had to answer the question, I would tell you he doesn't have the courage to take him out of the lineup.
It's not that he's a bad player. You just need to shock this group at one point, change something. And like I was talking earlier, Tony, what's our team? Tell me. Do a projection right now. Take all our young guys. Forget the guys that are not going to be there in a few years. What kind of teams? What's our team identity?
The team identity they want to have is going to be a skilled puck possession team that pushes the pace, and that's the team that they want to have. I don't know if they're going to get there, and I'm starting to worry. And you know what? You're probably not wrong. You know, when they talked about accelerating the rebuild and we didn't know whether it was a good idea or not, whatever, I think at that point, it could be a good idea right now to accelerate because, what if Demidov doesn't take off next year and it's going to take him a couple of years? What if it's going to take Kapanen a couple of years? And what if it's going to take Michael Age a couple of years? And what if it's going to take Owen Beck a couple of years? By that time, what are we going to do here? We can't wait anymore. It's enough now. It's enough. Hey! This is embarrassing.
I'll go further than that, Tony. You're talking about, you're mentioning Demidov, that let's all agree is probably the best project as a forward within the organization. He's a young guy. Who's going to play with him? You need veteran players that are going to welcome this kid when he arrives in the NHL. Who is he going to play right now with Kirby, Dach, and Armia?
They're going to cross their fingers and hope to God that Kirby Dach next year in his 7th season in the National Hockey League, he was hurt for 2 of them, so make it 5, but is still technically his 7th, is going to find his game and perform at center ice. It's a big question mark. So I'm going to tell you this. Right now, the problem is, Max, you said they need a trade. You want to know what the problem is?
Yeah.
They need a big centerman who can play. They need an energy player who will wake up this team and be great on the forecheck, hopefully a leader. And they need maybe another experienced defenseman. And I'm going to take it a step further. You ready? They need a goalie who's going to be able to push Montembeault, because Montembeault now knows that I got Kid and Primo by me, no biggie. And maybe that goalie's going to be Jacob Fowler in a couple of years. But how many years are we going to wait?
That's my point. How many years are we gonna wait? Because we're not year 1 in the rebuild, and people are asking, who are we gonna trade? For me, the first step would be to trade a guy like Anderson or Dvorak against a player that is not having a good season somewhere else, making the same type of salaries. Sometimes just having a fresh start somewhere, you can help a team.
Yeah, but you're changing 4 quarters for $1.
No, Tony. If you change a guy like Dvorak and you bring in speed, and the other team needs a center that plays PK, you just need to bring something new. Because now you know what it's going to be? Groundhog Day. Every day, the guys are going to go to dressing room. They're going to say, well, it's just like last year. We're going to lose, and it's going to be a high pick again this year. Then it's like you can snap out of it. Trust me, Tony, when there's a new teammate coming in, it changes everything. It changes the vibe in the dressing room. It changes the discussion that you have every morning. Is the same routine. Get your coffee. Like, let's say when I was playing, get your coffee, talk to Guillaume, go with Pricey, shoot on him on the ice, go to the gym with Plecanet. When you change the picture within the dressing room, then your routine changes. Then the guy maybe is a guy that's going to tell you, hey, guys, we got to work harder. Like, it changes something. You know how it is. Like, it changes the whole thing. Just one little change.
Okay. Did you have the over in the Canadiens game tonight? Yeah. Did you have the over versus the Islanders? Did you have the under versus the Kings? Did you have the over versus the Penguins? If so, you're a winner on Betway, a leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Go on Betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 years old and play responsibly. We're going to take some of your questions a little bit later, even though Max already took one now, and that's cool. But I'm going to tell you this. I understand what you're saying. You're saying you got to send an electroshock within the team. Perfect. Fantastic. I love it. I'm saying the problem is they need 1,000 players.
Yes.
They need a lot of players. Did you understand? Like this Kirby Dach thing, and I know people talk patient, Tony, patient. But for me, it's not a question of being patient. He came back from the knee injury. For me, it's a question of I look at his career, and he hasn't sold me that he's a centerman yet in his career. That's the problem I have. Not that patience. It's the course of his career. Are you sold that he's a centerman? Are you sold?
No.
Me neither.
I'm not 100% sold. I am sold that he's a good player, though. I know he's got the full package. He's a skill player with size. But I'm not sold that he's a centerman, and I'm not sold that he's going to show up every single night playing hard and playing physical. He's still in he's being tested like a 20-year-old right now. Like I don't know how old he is. You said 5 years in the NHL. He's getting right there in his career where he needs to have an impact. And for me, it's not what I'm seeing. Like, I'm watching the game tonight. It's not what I'm seeing tonight. Is that
he's minus 10, by the way. It's minus 10.
I know. I don't care about stats, Tony. It's tough to bet. It's the plus and minus for me. It's
okay. I won't give you a stat. You want me to give you something? Yeah. Did you see him on the power play in the third period when he came back?
Yeah.
He looked like he was about to pass out.
Slow. He looked slow. That's what I'm telling you.
No, he looked out of shape. He didn't look slow. He looked like he had no cardio. I don't know. I don't have these stats. I don't have this data in front of me. Maybe he's in shape. I don't know. But he looked like me when I go to the gym. Everyone thinks I'm going to pass out.
I'm Jim? Physical. Who's Jim? One of your friends?
No, I'm talking about the
the gym where you train.
The fitness center.
Yeah, don't lie to people. You got.
I don't lie. I don't.
You got a good following. Don't.
I don't lie.
I
go there 5 times a week. The Wi-Fi is fantastic. I sit in the lounge. I have 3 shakes. No, but he looks like a fitness disaster.
This for me, I won't say because I can't tell, and I'm not gonna judge if a player is doing what he needs to do off the ice or not. Because
I'm going by the optics. Marty talked about his eyes today. I'm talking about my eyes.
But I agree with you. He is slow. But Tony, if you look at the team overall, they do long shifts on the ice. They don't win all their one-on-one battles. The back checks. It's all about the effort for me. It's all about the effort. When you work, even if you're slow, you look faster because you work. And we talked about that last week. It's still not enough. They're not in sync as a team on the ice, and they're not performing like as a person, as individual. They need sometimes, like you have a guy that's playing bad, but he's playing well within the system. But now it's both at the same time. They need a team meeting, Tony. They need to sit down with the coaches, and enough with the rebuild thing. Is still professional sport, and they need to find a solution. They're paid for it. Find a solution. That's it.
I want to show you the results. Before I do, though, the results of the Canadiens' calendar so far after 7 games, and we're going to bring up the calendar with the rest of the games as well. But it's brought to you by Secure Payment Experts. Fall is the perfect time to start a new job. Unlock your potential with Secure Payment Experts. Secure with a K, by the way, is the highest paying English-speaking call center in the Montreal area. That's right. The job's English only, no French required, which we know is next to impossible to find here in Montreal. They're always growing the team, and with 2 great locations, downtown Montreal and on the West Island. Too bad that they weren't open when Randy Cunneyworth was the coach, because he couldn't have coached the Canadiens because he was English. He could have worked there. They offer a fun and unique culture with great earning potential, plus no experience necessary. 2 ways to apply. Either head over to life@secure on Instagram and tap apply now, or text apply now with your name and phone number to 514-909-8344. Come work at Secure. That's Secure with a K. Apply today. Start tomorrow. Take a look at the first 7 games of the season, the calendar for the month of October, okay? Max, 6 goals against in Boston. 6 goals against versus the Penguins. 4 goals against versus the Kings. 4 goals against, 3 goals in New York because they lost in a shootout. 7 goals against. Take a look at the last 3 games on home ice. They've given up 17 goals, and they should have given up 25. I've always told you that in a rebuild, in the first 3 years, it took a Marty St. Louis, his offensive concepts, no pressure to win, all that stuff. I'm good. I actually like the way they kind of attack. I don't have a problem. But once again, I'm going to get back to the way they defend. And when Marty says today that his eyes tell him that the D-zone coverage is getting better, I say to myself that either he's delusional or I know nothing. And it's very possible that I know nothing. If they can, I'd love for them to bring me in the video room when they're going. They can teach me. They can show me. I don't know.
The main thing for me is as soon as you start chasing in the defensive zone coverage, instead of just playing a little bit more of a structure and calm, like territorial game, then you have no energy everywhere on the ice. Like let's go through a positive shift defensively. Okay, everyone is on their guy. They're chasing them. They're really close. They close the gap. They get the puck. Then you have no juice. You've been covering a guy. You're drained physically and mentally. The only thing you're thinking about is get the red line, chip the puck deep, and try to change, or you're going to be late on the forecheck. This is what's happening right now. In a normal system, you have at least your 2 wingers that are rested in a normal position, just head on a swivel, looking at the D, looking at the puck. Okay, I got my guy. You're not moving too much. Your sentiment is the safety net behind the D's, battling in the corner. Then you get the puck, pass to the winger, you have energy. Okay, right now this is not the case. You have a guy with a D. The D goes down, then everyone starts running because the teams are not stupid, Tony. They know how we're playing in our D zone. So what do you think the coach is saying before the game on the board? Okay, guys, let's crisscross all over the ice. Let's block people, and then everybody's is going to be late. It doesn't even matter if they don't have a scoring chance. The other team, they won't give anything back defensively because the Canadiens, they have nothing to attack. When do you see during the game like a play where you see the 3 forwards getting through the neutral zone with the puck, but you feel that they're full speed and that the other team is having a tough time keeping up? That doesn't happen.
No,
never. Doesn't happen.
What did you think of Trouba's hit on Justin Barron? He's not the first guy that he's done that to, and he won't be the last. My God, that guy hits like Jacob Trouba in the last 5-6 years in the National Hockey League is the hardest hitting player in the league. I've never seen anybody hit. This guy hits like a truck.
Listen, okay, there's going to be a battle in the next few hours about the hit, the league. Was it legal, not legal? This is the way I see this situation, okay? Trouba, does he hit to hurt? 100%, okay? I've seen different frame pictures, videos on X, on the social media. Like, it's tough for me because I don't have every angle, but the first thing that touches his head is his shoulder, okay? Yeah. This doesn't matter to me because let's look at it from the league side. They said they want to protect the players, the hit to the head. For me, doesn't matter what part of your body you're using, okay? But the reality is, look at your body, the way it's made. If you go hips on hips, your shoulders are going to hit the head for sure if you hit in the middle, because that your shoulder are outside of your body. Do you understand what I mean there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it clean? For me, it's not elbow to the head, even if at the end we see the elbow going up, but I think the shoulder hits him. I think it's definitely an attempt to hurt a player, because you don't give this hit to get the puck back. Okay.
He always hits to hurt this guy, and
100%.
he always hits to injure. Listen, for me, it's shoulder to the head.
Yeah. Shoulder to the head.
Shoulder to the head.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but it is to the head, Tony. It doesn't matter.
And it's Matheson who gets ejected, by the way. This league is stupid, man. It's a stupid league.
This being said, though, and obviously, I'm not talking about Barron right now, because he's probably having a tough time. Like, when you get hit like that, it's a tough night. It's tough mentally, and it hurts, and he's a young guy. But I'm talking to every player in the NHL. When you see Trouba's on the ice, you need to know he's on the ice. Like you like, it's a little bit like Liney's play. Like, you go through four guys, you need to know what's going on. It's the NHL. Not everyone is nice, and some people are trying to hurt you. Okay? You need to protect yourself at one point. And I'm not talking about Barron. I'm talking about the players playing against Trouba. The guy is a headhunter. Be careful. It's that simple.
Yeah. Ryan Whitney, by the way, tweeted out, in the last hour, that it's an unreal hit, and it's shoulder to chest. I don't know.
It's shoulder to head.
It's shoulder to head.
100%.
He says that Barron has to know that it's the Trouba train in front of him. I don't know, man.
Well, Tony, at the end of the day, you got to blame everyone. Okay? You got to blame the league. You got to blame the Players Association, that everyone is yelling about protecting themselves and their head, but there's nothing said every time there's a hit like that. So it's up to the league and the players. Like, we can say anything we want in the media, it's never going to change anything.
A shout out to Playground. Looking for the ultimate entertainment experience? Playground has it all: gaming, poker, fine dining, live music, DJs, all with unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else? Just minutes from downtown Montreal, across the Mercier Bridge. Playground, your top destination for fun. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's bring up the Canadiens lineup. We have it. All right. Suzuki with Dach on his right wing and Caulfield on his left. Evans with Gallagher on his right and Anderson on his left. Newhook in between Kapanen and Armia. Dvorak with Heineman and Pezzetta on defense. Matheson, Barron, Hudson, Mailloux, Struble, Savard, and Samuel Montembeault. Really a tough night at the office for everyone. Let's take a look at the event summary at the end of the game. Okay, let's take a look at the event summary. No, not the timeline or the game. The event summary. The player's personal stats, please. The event summary from the NHL. Thank you. That's an event summary. Okay. Let's take a look at a few things that stand out here. One of the things you're going to see, Michael Pezzetta, -3. Emil Heineman, -3. Christian Dvorak, -3. Lane Hudson, -4. Kirby Dach, -2. A couple of -1s. Probably not the way Michael Pezzetta wanted to play his first game in the of the season, huh? -3.
No, 100%. And I feel bad for him, because how hard he works and how happy he was probably to finally play. Can we speak about Hudson for a second?
Yes.
I want you guys to do something next game, okay? Every time he has the puck, press pause and try to count how many options he has. And I'm not saying he played a great game tonight. Obviously, he's -4. That's a tough one. But it's tough to be a good player when you play with not great players. He skates the puck. He's waiting for an option, no option. Go back to the play right now, if you can, on your phone. Try to see the when he cuts in the middle and Riley scores on the other side. Try to find an option. He doesn't. He's either getting the red line to dump it, or
he could dump it in if he wants to. Right?
I know, Tony, but I'm just saying overall.
But he's not that kind of player to dump it, so that's why he did
Press pause, find an option, and take a sheet and probably at the end of the night you're gonna see he has the puck 25 times, and he doesn't have many options.
I'm gonna try and find it. Okay, I'm gonna go to it right now. If you'll allow me a few seconds here, but I believe, and I could be wrong. Before I even look at it, to answer your question, I believe David Savard was open on the opposite side. But let me look at it. Okay, let me look at it. 1 second, please. Okay. I'm on NHL.com. They're giving me like an advertisement that's like 1,000 seconds before I actually get to watch it. It's actually only 15, by the way. I like to exaggerate things. Let's see if it's only one ad, though. Okay, here we go. Stop it. Savard gives it to Hudson. There's a player who's trying to gather trying to skate through the neutral zone. All right. That's Nick Suzuki. Okay. That's Cole Caulfield. Let me see. Okay. David Savard's motioning to the bench. He could have given it back to Savard.
But
he could have given it back to Savard. Mind you, Savard looks at Hudson. And before Hudson makes his move, Savard is motioning to the bench to say, I'm going to come off, somebody come on. But he's still like a good 10, 12 feet away from the bench. But Lane Hudson could have definitely passed it back to David Savard. But that or the dump in were his only plays. There was no man that was open. Nick Suzuki was not open. Cole Caulfield was not open. It would have been a dangerous pass to Kirby Dach because there were some players that probably could have
I'm just trying to walk you through what he's thinking.
I answered your question.
Let's be honest. He didn't he had a tough game. 100%. I'm trying to put myself in his head as a young guy. Okay. Yeah. He's skating. He's looking to the old beard guy like David Savard that is probably gas. And he's like, oh no, I can't give him the puck right now. I'm putting him in a tough spot. Right.
Yeah.
Then he looks up, no forwards. And he's like, I got to get the red line myself. Well, why not try it myself? And that's a rookie mistake. But at the end of the day, young guys look better when the veteran players are playing better. It's that simple.
There's a lot of young guys though right now. Like, I mean, we talked about this, right? I mean, they have 5 defensemen right now in between 20 and 24 years old.
Yeah, but Tony, that's the league now. Young is not an excuse anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but 24 years old in the NHL is not 18. 24 years old, you're supposed to at least be mature on the ice and do take the right decisions. Like 24 years old, Tony, in the NHL, like it's not that young. Like you're 3 years ago away from being a free agent. It's not that young.
Yeah, it's a lot of young players together at the same time, though. Like that's.
I agree. I agree with you, Tony, but I don't think like a 24 years old, 25, 26 should be like judged the same way a 18, 19, 20 should be judged.
Does this team have enough players who have won before? Is that something that you think could be missing? Guys to show the younger guys the way. Who do they have that has won before? David Savard?
Savard won, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's it. There's no one else that's won. Do they have enough guys to show other guys the way?
They need guys that won, but they also need guys that it's obvious when they're mad that they don't like losing. You know, there's some real character players in the league, and I'm sure there is some that are available. You know, like some guys that are. I'll ask you this: Who tonight will
Alex Nowak won with the Colorado Avalanche too?
Yeah, but he wasn't like he was LT scratch, right? Or was he not?
He was a third line centerman.
Okay, well he's fine.
Yeah,
but you need who's gonna get up in this dressing room and say, like you said at the beginning of the show, like this fucking enough. Let's go in the third and play a good game and be physical, and we won't accept that somebody hit Barron that way. Like who like. You got veterans, but I don't think it's their personality.
Okay, but so I want to get back to Marty St. Louis for a second, okay?
Go.
I don't want to pick on him, but so and I'm trying to think of how I'm going to say this. So I guess
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to cut you right now.
No, I guess I'm just going to come out and say it, okay?
I'm sorry to your show. I'm going to cut you right now because I got enough.
Okay.
I got enough of this crap, Tony.
Okay.
Like I retired in 2020. I started in the media, and it's always the same damn thing that I hear. Claude Julien plays with his lines too much. He changes all the time. Dominique Duchamp is not good enough. He's not good enough. He doesn't have experience. It's always the coach's fault. The power play is not good. It's Burrows. What about some players?
Perfect.
What about some players?
Well, you know what they say. You can't fire 23 players. But listen to this, though. When you say, where are the guys getting mad? Where are the guys getting this? Where are the guys getting that? If you don't send messages to important players on your team, guys are not going to play with any sense of urgency whatsoever. It's easy to scratch our Jack guy.
Yeah, but there's three important players, Tony. Who is he going to scratch? Suzuki?
No, but, for example, before you said, why doesn't he scratch Josh Anderson? At least a little bit. Okay, you're right. So, for example, okay, I'm happy that they played Dach on the wing. But if I'm a player in that locker room, does it bother me a little bit that the guy who's been probably their worst forward all season got promoted to the first line to play with the two best forwards? Now, I think he's a winger more than he is a centerman right now at this stage of his career. But how does that make sense? Is it possible that rubs some guys the wrong way? Like Brendan Gallagher, who's been busting his ass, and everyone knows that Brendan Gallagher at this stage of his career is not a first liner, okay? Everybody knows that, okay? But Brendan Gallagher's been busting his ass, and he busted his ass tonight even in a loss when he got hauled down and they took a penalty and stuff like that. It was all heart. It was perseverance by Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
You don't think that he's saying, what the fuck, man? This guy, he's been their worst forward and he's getting promoted and I'm not? Is that not possible? You played. I don't know. I don't know how you guys think.
Yeah.
Is it not possible?
Yeah, but again, yes, 100%. But in this situation, it's always the easy answer in Montreal in the last few years. Well, this is the future. I think we're at a point now that if you want to build the future, we talk about it, you need to change the culture. And I haven't seen a major change of culture yet. This needs to change. They need to steer the pot. They need something. They need a guy that comes in that hits everyone. They need a guy that comes in and takes somebody's spot. And this is why the loss of Laney is bad. Not because we were expecting 50 goals out of him, but we were expecting that, hey, man, if you don't play well in the first line, he's going to take your spot because he's capable of taking your spot. But right now, there's no internal competition because put the lineup back, what you just put in, and look at the lineup. Honestly, who stresses you out to take your spot in the lineup? No one. Who's going to take your spot? No one. They need to bring something. And enough with the rebuild. Rebuild doesn't mean waiting. Rebuild means the core group, the young guys are your future, and you need to develop them, help them become better hockey players. And sometimes it means you need better veterans around them. That's it.
Would you bring up, you talked about sending some kind of electroshock. We talked about it before. Would you bring up somebody from the Laval Rocket, bring them up on the team, take somebody from the team, send them down to Laval?
Yeah.
The way they sent Joel Armia to Laval twice last year. Would you do that with a veteran player?
Yeah.
And you would do it with Anderson, you said, eh?
Anyone. There's no players that are deserving of having a guaranteed spot in the lineup, except obviously because we understand what they're trying to do. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Dach. The rest, Evans doesn't deserve to get out of this lineup because he works hard.
He works hard
crazy. But the rest, who cares? Who cares? Do you think there's a difference in the game tonight if you bring two guys from Laval instead of Dvorak and Anderson? You think we would have been worse?
No,
exactly. Just bring some. You remember 2 years ago we were going nowhere, and we brought Belzile, Harvey Pinard. Those are fourth liners, and they changed the mood. They brought some energy, and guys that were playing with them were shy not to work hard on the ice. Well, bring a fourth liner from the minors. I don't care. Bring someone that cares about the team. we're like tonight. I feel bad. We see those guys that won the Stanley Cup. See Bob Gainey. Like I see like all those great players that build something. We like we're losing that. It's not funny anymore. Like it's not funny. I understand the rebuild, but we cannot just. We're what is it? 5 years away from. We're all gonna forget about that. We're never gonna forget about the players, but les glorieux. It's not les glorieux anymore. Like, like we're comparing ourselves now to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like it's not normal anymore. Are they not seeing the 24 Stanley Cups when they walk in the building?
Marty St. Louis says it's hard to win a game when you give up a field goal before the first TV timeout.
Well, like Tony, they
but nobody's talking. Look, it wouldn't have changed nothing. Okay, it wouldn't have changed nothing. But I don't know about you. He pulled Montembeault after 4. It would have changed nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
But shouldn't he pulled him after 3?
Sure.
There were 6 minutes and 40 seconds into the hockey game. They're losing 3-0.
But everybody's.
I mean, RDS has the cameraman, like the camera on Samuel Montembeault. I mean, it wouldn't have changed nothing. I get it. We're just talking for talking now.
What about a timeout?
He's slow on the goalie changes, and he's slow on the timeouts. He's slow. Because he waits for TV timeouts and uses those as his timeouts instead of using a timeout. He likes to keep his timeout in his back pocket for the end of the game. But when you're down 3-0, 6 minutes and 40 seconds in, it is the end of the game. By the way, that was so good. I think it's one of the greatest things I've ever said on this podcast in 5 years. It just made so much sense the way it came out.
You're a natural.
Well,
you do what? You do like 50 shows a week. So at one point, you're going to give a good show once in a while.
Yeah. Thank you. Tomorrow morning, we start with radio between 10 and 12. And then we have the CF Montreal podcast at 3 p.m. right here on the SICK Media Network. And then we have TVA Sport with JC at 5:30 p.m. And then I'm on La Taverne Hockey on La Poche Bleue with you and Guillaume. And then at 10 p.m. back on the SICK podcast with Craig Button.
Yep. Well,
thank God it's a $5,000 day, or else I'd never do it. All right, okay. Now on to other stuff. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Like, no, seriously, where do we go from here? And by the way, good for you. Good for you for being patient and forgiving with Lane Hudson, because I think his inexperience is showing, and he has to learn whether when to pick his spots a little bit more. But good for you.
Well, Tony, like he's a young guy.
We don't want to change the kid, right? We just want him to learn through experience, but we don't want him to change, right? Because if you change who he is what made him special and what got him to the dance, right? So we don't want to do that. We don't want to change him.
I'll tell you something, okay? As a hockey player, you need to make every mistake possible so it's in your head and you don't make them again. It's that simple. Like, you can have a coach telling you 6 million times that if you cut in the middle, like, it's risky and you can give a goal against. You're going to do it until it happens, and then you won't do it again. You might do it one more time. He's a smart kid. I'm sure you won't see that play many times in the next few weeks. Then you're going to see in March maybe, and he's going to go again for another few months. He's a smart kid. He makes mistake. Right now, the only concern I have right now with him is he's been playing a lot, and I wonder if he's not gassed a little bit, which is normal as a young guy playing 30 minutes a night. At one point, you're gonna have a tough one, but I'm not worried one bit, because for him, his biggest tool is hockey IQ, and that never leaves. That never leaves. 3 posts and 3 crossbars for the Rangers tonight, by the way. Yeah, but let's not forget here, we're playing a powerhouse on the other side. We're so focused on how bad the Canadiens were, but can we talk about how good the Rangers were? They were good tonight, Tony. They're fast.
Well, they're very good, but they look like they look like the Harlem Globetrotters playing hockey, and the Canadiens look like the Washington Generals playing hockey.
Yeah, and what are they, Tony? What's the first string that comes in mind when you speak about the Rangers?
Talent.
Yeah, second one then.
Speed.
Yeah, third one.
Third one, goaltending.
Goaltending. Fourth one, toughness.
Depth on defense.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have everything.
They've arrived. They've arrived.
Yeah, they're there. They're supposed to win. The next 3 years, it's their time now. Like
I think they're going to win the cup this year. By the way, I'm calling it right now. And I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, Tony Marinaro, actually last night. And we he's a Ranger fan, and we had a discussion last night, and we both took the Rangers to win the cup this year. But there's a lot that could change between now and the middle of June when the Stanley Cup is actually brought out.
We need to learn from them, though. Okay, we need to learn from them because there's some moves that were made in New York that were ballsy. Okay, sorry the language, but first of all, if you go back in time, you trade a kid like Derek Brassard against Zibanejad. At the beginning, it was risky. Not anymore. Brass was a great player, but Zibanejad was another level. It was kind of risky to take the decision to send a young Derek Brassard, right? Like he was skilled and you were hoping for the best for his career. Then you signed the big money for Panarin. You need to do those moves. Like you cannot just wait. Like I said earlier, at one point you need to go hunting for something. Like they made the moves. Then you go and get Trouba, which is an okay defenseman in Winnipeg, but they had a plan. Toughness on D, leadership. Like they went and got those players. Like the Trocheck. They went and got Trocheck, give him a role. Like you need to sign players as well. You can draft as many players as you want. At one point, you need to go get the player that's helping you now. Because everything is a fit. Like for me, it's a coin toss. Like, is your first pick going to be good? Is your second pick going to be good? Like, at one point, you need to go to the store and get something that what's on the shelf is what's on the shelf, right? Like, that's it. Like, we need to do it.
I want to take some questions, all right, if I can. 5 or 6 questions, maybe even 10 questions. Brought to you by Paul Montreal, by the way. Paul Montreal, Dr. Manish Khanna, they got a couple of technologies. One is for hair loss called TED. It's basically, it's completely natural. It's an ultrasound technology, no needles, no pain, 98% success rate for the ideal candidates. And they also have injections, laser, basically everything, the latest cosmetic technologies to basically make you beautiful. They have 2 locations. They have one in downtown Montreal. They have one in the West Island. And for the hair loss treatment, they can give you a free consultation. Jot down this number. Call them tomorrow, 514-989-7328. All right, okay. Let's take 10 questions, and then we can go to bed, even though the Canadiens slept all night. Dr. Agan, Max is, as a player, Maximus, he called you. As a player, how do you feel about the pregame ceremonies on home ice? Did it help, or was the delay a distraction?
It helps for sure. And if, like I was talking earlier, if it doesn't get you, like, pumped for the game to see people that won the cup and the fans that are still giving standing ovation for them, well, you're not in the right market. Obviously, it gets you going. Like, it's like, I'll tell you something, Cloney. Like, every single day I was going to the rink, I would look right up all those pictures on top of the stalls in the dressing room, and I would basically talk to Maurice Richard's pictures, like saying, like, thank you for everything you've done, because now I have the chance to play for the Canadiens. Like, this is how special it was for me.
Wow.
I hope it is. Yeah, it is deep, and it was getting me like emotional every day, like it was the first day. If you don't feel that way playing for the Canadiens, you're in the wrong market. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, why am I not feeling that way? It doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many players in that room like you. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't. I really don't. It's too bad, because they definitely can use some. All right, okay. Question number 2. Mehdi says, the game is so fast nowadays. Do the players really have time to know that Trouba is on the ice?
100%, because the first thing you do when there's a face-off or when you go on the ice, you look who's there. So you're supposed to know, not just for hitting. Like, you're supposed to know, is it their 6D that I can use my speed and go around him? Like, who am I playing against at center? Like, you're supposed to know who you're playing against, not just for injuries, but for your strategy in your head. Like, if you know that there's a slow D, you're probably going to chip the puck, and you know you're going to beat him in a foot race. If you know that you're playing against Shea Weber, you're about to block a shot that's going to hurt. You're supposed to know what's going on.
Third. Danny Tamir says, Tony and Max, if you had to guess, what are Gordon and Hughes thinking right now? They're thinking we're a defensive disaster. We're not deep enough to have all these injuries. And we need to turn this thing around because we've lost 4 games in a row here.
I don't think they're happy right now. I think they look like really nice people, and it's easy to think they don't care, but I think they care a lot, and I think they're unhappy.
Well, they're unhappy. They've given up 1,000 goals in the last 4 games.
You cannot be happy right now. I would say they're pretty close from having a meeting right now. Like the players are gonna have a meeting. That's 4 losses in a row, and the staff is gonna talk. Like, what are we doing from here? You need to. Not only you weren't that great of a team, but you get a lot of injuries already. Are we gonna blame the trainers again? Is it the trainers and the doctors' fault again this year? No, okay.
Next, question 5, I think. Slimesy says, who are the untouchables at the moment? Question for Max and Tony. I'll give one, you give one. You ready?
Okay, go.
Suzuki.
Caulfield.
Slavkovsky.
Goulet.
Hudson.
I'm done.
Me too.
C'est réglé.
The rest are not untouchables. I mean, there's some good players there, but they're not untouchables. I mean, Matheson, Savard. Matheson's a very good defenseman, obviously, but Matheson, Savard, Arbor Jacki, Jaden Struble, Justin Barron, even Logan Mailloux. I mean, they're not untouchables. I mean, Newhook is not an untouchable. Anderson and Gallagher and Heineman and
they meet up. Obviously, we're not counting because he's not here.
He's not on the team, so they're not untouchables, right? Yeah.
5.
That's it.
And Jacki for me is a guy I would keep.
And by the way, would you have answered Caulfield a year ago? Because I remember a year ago on the podcast, you were, there's some things you liked and some things you liked a little bit less. And
about who?
About Caulfield. Would he have been an untouchable for you 1 year ago?
No. He's untouchable now because I like his attitude and his speed. I think obviously it depends on the offer.
You said about half an hour ago he doesn't have speed. You said he's
agile. Sorry.
Agile.
He skates well.
You see the way I pay attention when you talk. You see?
But 100%. But hockey is not always white or black. There's gray zones, and I'll ask you a question, and you understand everything. You think in Florida if you would have asked, "Are you going to trade Huberdeau?" They would have said yes after 115 points.
For sure not. Yeah, no.
Exactly. And then they won a cup because they traded him. So you need to take tough decisions. That's what I'm saying. We need to stop going through the motion here, and it's just let's not make a mistake and let's try something. If we fail, we fail.
We haven't talked enough about Suzuki, who obviously traditionally is a slow starter. It looked laborious for him, and it looked like he was struggling in the first 6 games, even though he had 5 points. Tonight, on a couple of occasions, he took the bull by the horns and said, okay, I'm going to...
I'll ask the question because we talked about last year. You were talking about these top 15 centers in the league. Are you still there?
So let me clarify this again one more time, okay? Last year, out of all the players that played center in the National Hockey League, he was top 15 in goals, and he was top 15 in points, and he was top 15 in possession in the offensive zone. I think so. Based on those stats, he was, out of all the centermen who played in the National Hockey League, he was a top 15. That's the stats that say that. That's not me.
I know, but
this year the stats don't say that, so he isn't. You understand my point?
Who care about the stats? Who cares?
Well, I mean,
my question is he a center that is a top 15 guys if you were to draft right now in the NHL that you take on your team right away?
No. Not right now.
Next subject. You're spicy tonight, Tony. Jesus Christ. Eat a cannoli.
But somebody said to me last night on Twitter, all the teams that have won the Stanley Cup have a guy that picks up between 90 and 100 points. I wrote back, it's a false statement. That is incorrect. That is just totally not true. As a matter of fact, in the last 15 years, there have been more teams that have won the cup without a player hitting 90 points than with a player hitting 90 points. You need a team too. Like when the Bruins won the Cup, Patrice Bergeron had like 65 or 67 points, and I think David Krejci had 71. But they also had Lucic on the wing, and they had Horton on the wing, and they had Brad Marchand on the wing, and they had
Rich Beverly,
Tim Thomas in goal, and they had Zdeno Chara on defense. You need a team. You need a team.
You need a team.
You know,
tonight you're missing like basically to be like a good team tonight. You're basically missing 6 forwards. No joke.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I'm a little confused sometimes because I'm like, am I being hard on them, or are they good? Are they that bad? And then you look at the lineup and you're like, ew. Like, ooh. They're not like they're fighting chance before the game. If you look at the lineups,
well, 6 forwards. Like I would say that, you get Laine and Slavkovsky in there.
Yeah,
and they rediscovered their game. I'm not so sure they need 6 at that point. I think they probably need 3 or 4. No?
Well, I'll look at the lineup right now.
Okay.
Just wait a second.
You know what I don't like? I don't like that their fourth line doesn't have an identity.
Okay, well, look at that.
We talked about the Boston Bruins, right? They got Beecher, they got Kopke, and they got Kastelik.
Yeah.
Their fourth line is like, I'm not going to call them the crash line because obviously the crash line was in New Jersey with I think it was Paluzzo and Randy McKay and Bobby Holik or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that's a fourth line that has an identity.
That would be a start.
One guy's 6'4" and the other guy's 6'3" and the other guy's 6'1", and they're all over 200 pounds and they lean on you and they win the cycle game and they win the battles and they finish their hits. That should be easy to do, no? Shouldn't it be easy to put together a fourth line? Like, I know that they're looking and they're going to say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe one day it's going to be Thorpe and it's going to be Tuck and it's going to be Jack-Eye or whatever, right? Yeah. But how tough would it be to do that now?
That's my point. Do it now. I said it earlier, Tony. Just go grab a guy from the fourth line in the minors. I don't care.
I don't think they believe in that kind of composition of a line. And I think Marty doesn't believe in that. I think Marty wants to have as much skill as possible on all 4 lines. I don't know that for a fact, by the way. I don't know that.
Yeah, let's not forget how Marty used to play, though. He was gritty.
Yeah, but look, I'll give you an example, okay? Pizzetta's an energy player, and I get it. Pizzetta is a 13 on the Montreal Canadiens. He's probably a 14 on some teams, and on some teams, he's an American Hockey League player, okay? With all due respect to him, of course.
Yeah.
But there's nights where they need energy and they need guys to finish their hits. I mean, tonight, the only reason why he put in Pizzetta is because Slavkovsky was hurt. Or else he wasn't putting him in. So, like, I'm wondering if Marty wants energy players and hitting players on his fourth line more so than he wants guys that have some kind of skill and hockey sense.
You need fourth liners that brings what you're talking about right now, but that have more than that to bring on the table. Like, you need to have an impact. You need to be able to take 8 to 11 minutes or 12 minutes and have control of the game. Like, you cannot, like, Pizzetta he's a hard worker, great teammate, tough guy. He finished every hit, but nothing else. He doesn't create offensively. He's not the best in the world on the PK. Like, you remember we had that discussion last year. I was saying in a good team, the third and fourth liners are specialists.
Yeah.
They're not just third and fourth liner.
Yeah.
Perfect guy on the face-off. Tough guy. PK guy. Net front forward to go big guy in front of the net in the power play. 4 checkers. Guys that you put on when it's 6-on-5 at the end of the game and they need to block shots. Those are specialists. Right now, we just have a third line and a fourth line. And you're right. Like, the fourth line doesn't necessarily need to be all Delaurier type of players and Jack-Eye, but you need guys that are, when they're on the ice, the other Ds are like, it's going to be a tough minute coming up. And the impact is not that minute. Is the next one when they're gassed and they need to go back on the ice and face Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky, and they're tired from the shift before.
Max, I kept you on for so long. I just looked at the clock and I noticed that we're like an hour and 10 minutes into the podcast.
Okay, overtime pays double, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know what double of zero is? It's always zero. But you know what? We do want to thank Agnello and Sammy for running the operation that they do. 27 podcasts. They bring in $2.4 million a year, and we're paid with gift certificates from some of their sponsors. It's very nice. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Tony, there's no
I'm
rush.
I'm happy that 3 of the 4 gift certificates that they gave me actually last month for payment have not expired, because that's happened to me before in the past that they did. Okay, all kidding aside, we're joking now. We're having fun. Max, I'm going to let you go. Tomorrow's a big night for you. You want to stay on?
Don't care, Tony. Like, I don't care. There's no time limit with me, Tony.
Okay, listen, if you want to stay on, I'm going to spray some water in my face. I'm going to pull up my pants here, and I'm going to stay on. All right?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, that's what you want to do? All right, no problem. Let me hold on.
I wonder what he does with his hair in the morning. Jesus. Tough hairdo. Let's read a few questions on the chat. Don't be shy. What is he doing? Push-ups back there or what?
Okay.
Jesus.
Drank so much water, I had to go to the bathroom. Okay, you want to stay on? We're going to stay on. You want to do something crazy tonight? We're going to stay on.
Someone on the chat was talking about your hair, Tony. They were wondering, what do you do? What do you do with your hair in the morning? What? What are you? Are those leopard pants?
This is how I watch my games.
Okay. Are those pajamas?
Yeah, these are my pajamas.
You're unreal.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Okay. Let's do this. You want to make people talk? You want to go viral? You want to go viral on Twitter? Okay. It's 11:13 p.m. right now as we speak. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Say your clock. Let's go until 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's do that. Bring my fan. Get some cold air so that I don't fall asleep. Just put my fan here. Okay. All right. 3 a.m. Deal?
Yep. You're like, fuck. You're not challenging the right guy right now.
I had no idea you were going to say yes. I had no idea that you were going to say yes. Oh, man. Hey, so what can we do? Can we take call? Are we set up to take calls? Yes, no. Are we set up to take any calls or what? We can even do that too. We're probably not set up to take calls tonight. Probably should have known that before. Let me see. No, unfortunately, we're not set up to take calls. I've only been telling them for the last 3 weeks, so we're not set up. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me read some of the comments coming in. Doug Cherry says calls are the best. It all depends. When they're good, yes. When they're not, they suck. Festivus says, Tony, you have radio tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I can do radio shows with my eyes closed. Don't worry about me. Others coming in. Better call the cemetery again tomorrow. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. Mind you, I don't know what I'm going to do because, I don't stage things, right? I got a bunch of messages. Last week, I called my mother, and then I called the cemetery, and I got a couple of messages from people telling me I stage stuff. No, I don't stage stuff. I never have, and I never will. I don't do radio shows that way. I don't do podcasts that way. It's not my style. And by the way, my mother asked me about my son in the call. If I would have staged it, my mother's not asking me about my son. And I think we called the cemetery 3 times, and we talk about CF Montreal, says Bobby. I'm not going to do that. By the way, we're losing 2-0 in the game. They were able to rally back, come back, and tie it at 2 and go straight to penalty kicks after about 98 plus minutes were played. And then they ended up losing on penalty kicks where Pierce was the only player to miss his penalty shot. It was actually stopped by the Atlanta keeper, who, by the way, listen, tonight I watched the hockey game. and on my iPhone, I watched the CF Montreal game. So I actually did two things at once. Pretty good. Okay. Is there anything we haven't, all kidding aside, is there anything that we haven't covered? Let's bring up that event summary again one more time. Shane, let's bring up the event summary, okay? 5 giveaways for Jaden Struble is not very good, and my mother, who wanted him in the lineup, actually would not be happy. Lane Hudson leads all defensemen tonight with 24-10, which is it's of course we're not surprised at this point that it's either him or it's Mike Matheson. Is there anything that sticks out to you? Dvorak, by the way, has been stinking the bed. The second that I talked about Dvorak being a good faceoff guy, he doesn't win faceoffs anymore.
Yeah, Dvorak tonight, 11 minutes, 0 shots, 0 hits.
11-32.
33% on draws. Like, for me, like, it's always tough to understand a guy that plays an NHL game and finishes the game with no hit. It has nothing to do with the big spectacular hit. It's about creating a distance between the puck and the other player. Like,
you know, if I played in the National Hockey League, which obviously would be would be a long stretch considering I don't know how to skate, I think I would just hit somebody in the first shift, so like that I would at least have one hit on my, like, this is not normal. It's not normal to me that you can play a game 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever, not have a hit, not have a shot. It doesn't make sense to me. Boo. What do I know?
Who else doesn't have a hit tonight? Kapanen doesn't have a hit.
Mike Matheson, 0 hits. Brendan Gallagher,
Hudson,
0 hits.
hits.
Logan Mailloux, 0 hits. That's not good. Christian Dvorak, 0 hits. Lane Hudson, 0 hits. Justin Barron, 0 hits. And Oliver Kapanen, 0 hits.
Okay, let's, you know what? Let's do lines. For next game.
Lines of what? Coke? Lines of what?
For next game.
For next game. Okay, I thought
easier.
You said let's do lines. You got me scared for a second because I've never touched that stuff and I never will.
Just focus on the pajamas.
By the way, just to set the record straight, because every now and then I do kind of like crazy things on radio or podcasts and stuff like that. I'm a little bit intense. I go a little bit crazy, and I've received a couple of messages that I must do coke or I must do crack or I must do this or I must do that. On the record here, I'm looking right in the eyes of the camera. Not that anyone cares and not that it's anyone's business. I never did a single drug in my whole life. Never. And by the way, that even goes for smoking a joint. I never did.
Good, Tony.
Mommy and daddy are happy. Go ahead.
Good boy.
Thank you. What I have is passion and energy. That's what I have. A deep-rooted passion for the game and for sports. And that is able to give me that drive through my shows. There's no drugs in this body. There's a lot of food and there's a lot of sugar, but there's no drugs. All right? All right. Today, we're just saying everything. Like, this show has really fallen off the rails tonight. And Yellow right now is probably just absolutely
Let's call
livid.
it podcast. Like, that's how it's supposed to be.
That's right. It's called a podcast.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I know, you still got like 1,400 people watching you right now.
Like, the Spitting Chicklets guys, by the way, are going crazy on Jacob Trouba's hit, that it's the best hit, that this, that it's legal, that it's to the chest. Those guys upset me sometimes, man.
Why?
Because I think they're trolling when they say that. They can't believe it. They must be trolling. You think they all believe? Do you think all the guys at Spitting Chicklets all believe that was all of them, that it was a legal hit? You want to know why they're saying what they're saying? They're saying what they're saying because they know that the Habs fan base is extremely passionate. People are going absolutely nuts right now. They're trolling.
I think they're 100% believe it.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah.
Or they 100% want to see the game played that way, and even though it might be illegal by the letter of the law, that's the kind of hockey they like.
That's what they like.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
I like you so much so that the Montreal Canadiens are going to host the Seattle Kraken next week on Tuesday night, and you're going to be back with me because you're going to be with me throughout the entire season on Tuesday nights when the Montreal Canadiens play a game. Mind you, you bailed me out last week on Thursday when they played a game because I had a cancellation. And boom, I called you and you came through right away.
Exactly. I need to see Heineman on the first two lines at
I'm
one
going to
point.
be at Winnie's next week, by the way.
What?
Winnie's. I'm going to be at Winnie's. Look at that. Having a watch party. I'm going to be watching the game there. I mean, you're very, very welcome to join me. I don't want to inconvenience you because I know that you have a beautiful setup there in Brassard. But if you want to watch the game with me, by the time it's over, I'll probably had about 100 chicken wings and a club. At 14:55,
what are you going to have for dinner?
For all of you fans of the Sick Podcast, and for all of you who watch Max and I on television, for all of you who watch Match on La Poche Bleue, for all of you who listen to me on BPM Sports Radio, if you'd like to come down, Max, no obligation, by the way. I don't want to put you in a bad spot because we can do it at a distance. But I will be at Winnie's. If you want to be there, Max, of course, open invitation, and the bill is on in yellow. And if not, we will do it at a distance. But I could definitely confirm my participation and that I will be there next week on Tuesday night. Mark it down in your calendars. At 7 p.m., the Canadiens host the Seattle Kraken, and I will be at Sir Winston Churchill Pub, 1455 Crescent Street, downtown Montreal. And if you want to sit down next to me and watch the game with me, and then maybe even stick around after the game to see me host the Sick Podcast post-game show style, I would be very, very happy to sit down with anybody, watch the game with anybody, and that's that. So jot it down on your calendars.
Good. Should be fun, huh?
Yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. So you wanted to talk about Heineman before? I don't think we're going to hit the 3 a.m. thing, but you want to talk about Heineman?
Yeah, I want to see him on the top six. I want to see him there in the next game. I think he's finishing his hits. He's skating. We need something new. Well, let's try Heineman.
I don't mind capping it in the top six, by the way.
I need more.
I want to keep Dach on the wing. But if they ever decide to put him back at center and Slafkovsky is hurt, that we know that he's going to be out for 1 week. So he's going to miss the game Saturday versus St. Louis, and he's going to miss the game the following night in Philadelphia.
This is my lines, Tony. I got Suzuki, Caulfield, Heineman, and I got Newhook at center with Dach on the right. I think it's better for him because Newhook is a fast player, and you get the center lane. He's going to drive the net, open up some space for Dach. I think that's exactly what he needs. On the left wing right now, I don't even know who to put there, but it's either
Max.
It's either Anderson and Gallagher.
Okay, it's an obvious reflex to say, okay, they lost. Let's change the lines. I don't want to throw in the towel. But the way things are right now, you can put them all in a blender all you want.
No, you need to have purpose, Tony.
In the end, I think it's going to make the same puree. Like I don't see.
You need a hockey is not luck, Tony. Hockey is mathematical. Just take the point I just explained you. Newhook is fast, okay? That means he can be driving the net, opening the lane for Dach, and he can also be the first guy back, even if he's in front of the net, because he's faster than Dach. So you just helped them both. Like you're protecting the center for Dach, who's struggling right now, and
you've taken that responsibility away from Dach, so he's more free to play.
Exactly. Then Heineman with Suzuki and Caulfield. Heineman brings some speed, which is going to push the pace, and he's going to push Suzuki and Caulfield to go forward and play another type of game.
He's got a bigger body too. He's not huge like Slafkovsky, but he's a poor man Slafkovsky.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you get a guy that's going 200 miles an hour on the wing, it's tough to go delay and wait for a guy and play the patience game. You gotta think quicker, and I think like you need to have a purpose like that. Do you get it now?
I know. I always got it. I mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know you always got it, but you understand what I'm saying. Like,
yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
there's a purpose to it. It's not just like put the lines in the mixer for me. It's how can we wake up this player? Okay, what does he need right now? He's struggling with speed. Let's help him. Put some speed on the wing. You know,
a lot of people that are in the chat right now, and I know that some people are just they're gonna lose their mind when they hear this, but they want to see Brendan Gallagher rewarded. That's sending a right message. And I understand that when all is said and done, we take a look at the score sheet tonight and Gallagher's not there. And, you know, when all is said and done, you take a look at the score sheet the game before that and Gallagher's not there either. And it's been a while, but he's giving you everything. He's not shortchanging you the effort. And there are guys that are. But tonight, like you said, I don't even think it was a question of effort tonight, with the exception of Mayu and Struble, who actually just stopped skating. I don't know if that's more effort or it's more miscommunication. They're looking at each other. I thought you were going. I thought you were going.
Two young guys that never played, probably on the same D pair.
No, correct. Yeah.
Communication, I mean, you need to be ready to play, and you need to fix this before the game. But Hudson learned from his turnovers. They're going to learn from this situation.
Max, thank you for actually accepting to stay on until 3 o'clock in the morning, because I thought that you were going to run, and it's going to be me that's going to duck out of this one, okay? Because I got to do radio tomorrow, and if I keep talking, I won't have a voice tomorrow. And God knows I'm going to need my voice. Max, okay. I don't know how to. No, Max, I don't know how to thank you, really, honestly, because you're so giving with your time, and it's not every collaborator. It's not every collaborator that wants to stick around. Even there's no time limit on the show. It's hard to find collaborators that will stick around for an hour and a half, and we're just a couple of minutes shy of that. So you know how much I appreciate all your help. All right.
And I love hockey, Tony, and you're lucky I'm not drinking beer while I'm on your show, because it would be longer.
Yes, and of course, I hope you know by now that of course you can count on me, and I look forward to doing La Poche Bleue, La Taverne Hockey segment tomorrow. Who's going to be on the panel?
Pascal Leclerc, Le Baron, Guillaume, obviously, and
Le Baron.
Probably Jean Perron as well.
Oh wow, you're going to have a full house tomorrow.
We're looking for a tilt. Yeah.
You know what? I like that. You're looking at 5 or 6 guys together. That's going to make for one big time animated podcast. And for all of you watching the Sick Podcast right now, I want you to follow La Poche Bleue on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. I want you to subscribe to their channel, and I want you to watch them. And they have a podcast every Wednesday night. And as a matter of fact, I need you to. I need people to know this, okay? And I'm not just saying this because Max Lapierre is here, but I'm saying it because I mean it from the bottom of my heart, okay? Max is from the school that he wants to help. And I'm from the school that I want to help too. So Max helps me, and I help Max. But Max is so good that La Poche Bleue also has a podcast after every Montreal Canadiens game. After everyone. And yet, he's here trying to help me, and I'll be there tomorrow trying to help him. Max, you're a good man. I'll talk to you tomorrow night, my friend, okay?
Right, thanks, Tony.
Merci beaucoup.
Keep it going.
Thank
you
guys.
Very
much. There you have it.
Bye-bye.
Maxim Lapierre. If we can give him a standing ovation right now and we can give him a wave, I think we should. But I said everything. I meant everything that I said, and that's true. He wants to help me. I want to help him, and we help each other out. And that's the way we operate. And he never says no, and I never say no. And believe it or not, in this business, it's actually the minority that actually think like that. And I think that's the right way to do it. Max thinks that's the right way to do it. But there's not too many that actually do that. And it's too bad, because I think everyone wins, and especially all of you listening and all of you watching. So thank you very much. Very much appreciate it. Once again, the Canadiens absolutely suck tonight and lose by a score of 7-2. Let's bring up their schedule for the rest of the month of October. Okay, the Canadiens host the St. Louis Blues on Saturday. They visit Michkov and the Flyers on Sunday. A couple of nights later, they host the Seattle Kraken, and a couple of nights after that, they're going to be in Washington to face the Capitals on Halloween Thursday. And that's how the month of October is going to end for the Montreal Canadiens. And seeing the way it's going right now, if it continues to go this way, this month couldn't end fast enough. Once again, 1 week from tonight, I will be at Winnie's, Sir Winston Churchill Pub on Crescent Street. Let's see if we can get Max Lapierre out there. I'm not going to promise anything, but knowing Max, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be there. If not, we'll do it at a distance. But knowing Max, I wouldn't be surprised. but no promises on that just yet because he has not confirmed that he will be there. But it's a watch party and a post-game show. So if you want to join me, I'll be at Sir Winston's on Tuesday, October 29th. I'll probably be there at around 6:30 p.m., and we'll watch the 7 p.m. game together. And if you want to sit right next to me, to my left, to my right, at the same table, you want to talk with me all night, I'd be more than happy to talk with all of you watching. It's an opportunity for you. I very much hope to see you all there. I'll see you back tomorrow night, same time, same place. My guest will be Craig Button, TSN hockey analyst and director of scouting. I would imagine he has a thing or two on his mind. There's a lot to talk about. That's the good news. The bad news? There's a lot of that too. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.